So Skirk is just around the corner, and let's be honest, even if you can wail to get Skirk, not everyone can do the same for her weapon, and that's exactly where I come in. Instead of diving deep into her kit right away, I'll be simplifying everything you need to know when it comes to her weapon options. That way, you can get the most out of her without getting overwhelmed. We'll be looking at craftable weapons, battle pass, and lastly fishing weapons, all just to search the 7 Cs and find for you what the absolute best is aside from her actual signature weapon. Since Skirk isn't such a weapon-greedy character, this may be simpler than you think, so don't fret, I've got you covered. The exact same way I've also got you covered with welkin moons. Aside from the welkins I'm giving away for hitting 25,000 subscribers, we've also set up a Discord server with a full-on economy system. That means you can actually earn your way to a welkin just by participating and buying from our in-server store. But hey, if Discord isn't your thing, no worries. You can still join the 25,000 subscriber giveaway. All you need to do is hit that subscribe button, drop a like, and leave a comment below. The more you show up, the easier it is to win. And let's be real, topping up in Genshin can get really expensive. And with how often new characters drop, every dollar you can save actually matters. That's why I started using LDSHOP, because not only are they safer and trusted than all other sources that I've used, but they can save you up to 30% on your top-ups. The best part? All you need is your UID and server, that's it. Will you get the double crystal bonus? Yup, it works just like in the official top-up. But wait, it gets even better because if you spend over $80, you'll be given the freedom to select either a welkin or its equivalent in 3 other games. Honestly, we're not getting these kinds of love directly from Hoyo. So if you want to save some money, get those crystals faster and still stay safe, then use my link in the description and pinned comment. That way you will get a 15% and a 5% coupon. Trust me, you won't be disappointed. Now to sharpen things up a bit, let's break down what Skirk actually needs and what she really doesn't. Skirk is a 5-star damage dealer who scales off attack, plain and simple. Beyond that, she has 0 reason to stack energy recharge since she runs on her own unique mechanic. And as for elemental mastery, nope, not needed either, as you'll be using her for pure cryo damage, not for triggering melt reactions. So with all that in mind, it doesn't take a genius to figure out what Skirk's weapon really needs. ATK, crit rate, or crit damage, and maybe just a little HP. Why HP? Well, her best team comps usually don't involve a shielder, so you don't want her getting clapped mid-rotation. That said, if you're careful, you can balance her survivability through artifacts instead. So HP isn't a must, just a nice to have. Now let's talk about what you absolutely don't want on her weapon. First up, defense. No explanation needed. It's a dead stat on Skirk. Right behind that is energy recharge and, of course, elemental mastery. None of these stats support what she's built to do. So yeah, with all that said, it's pretty clear that her signature weapon ticks all the right boxes. Let's break it down real quick. The Azure Light gives raw attack as its main stat, crit damage as a substat, and its passive boosts her ATK by 24% and her crit damage by another 40%. These effects only triggers when the character has 0 energy. And of course, due to Skirk not using energy recharge, all the stacks work perfectly on her. So yeah, that's Skirk's weapon in a nutshell. Absolutely cracked for her, but kinda locked in if you're thinking of using it on anyone else. Alright, now without further ado, let's dive into the alternatives. You might want to jot these down so you can check your account later and see what you've got lying around. We'll be ranking them from B tier all the way up to S+, where her signature weapon obviously sits. And hey, some other weapons might just sneak into that top tier too, so stick around. You might be surprised. Now let's kick things off with the golden standard of 4-star weapons. Finale of the Deep. This thing gives you attack in just about every area, which is exactly what Skirk wants. The catch? You'll have to balance your crit rate and crit damage elsewhere, since the weapon really doesn't provide it in any way. And more importantly, you've got to be ready to dodge. That's because to get the full value from its Bond of Life mechanic, you'll either need to give Skirk a decent chunk of HP or bring a shielder like Diona, or more better yet, C6 Dahlia onto the team. But for a 4-star craftable weapon, the value is honestly insane. And that's why it earns a solid spot in S tier. Surprised? Don't be, because we've still got better coming. Up next, we've got the Summit Shaper. Yeah, I'm mentioning this one for those of you who've lost your 50-50 to it. Don't worry, you're not alone. Stat-wise, it actually performs slightly better than Finale of the Deep, but there's a catch. Skirk has to be shielded to get the full benefit, and without that shield, you're basically losing half of the attack buff. Now sure, the weapon gives solid attack, which Skirk loves, but when you're rocking a 5-star weapon, you expect more than just the word solid. So as much as it hurts to say this, we're dropping Summit Shaper down to A tier. Yeah, it's one of those weapons. Now up next, thanks to popular request, we've somehow got Furina's weapon in the mix. I'll keep it short. It seriously underperforms compared to the first weapon we covered, Finale of the Deep. And for a 5-star limited weapon, that's kind of embarrassing. Now don't get me wrong, it's clearly built for Furina and doesn't really do Skirk any justice. It's a great weapon, but with Skirk loving attack and Furina loving HP, there's really no hiding it. I mean, even the passive is all HP based. So yeah, we're dropping this one straight into B tier. Let's not waste any more time here. Now moving into the Battle Pass weapons, let's knock out two at once, the Black Sword and Wolffang. If you've got Wolffang, you're in slightly better shape than those rocking Black Sword. These weapons can go toe-to-toe with Finale of the Deep, so let me break down exactly why. Starting with the Wolffang, now this weapon is nothing short of awesome, because the main stats obviously provides attack, and the bonus substats provides crit rate. That alone is enough reason to consider it above all weapons. Moving on to the passive of the weapon at R1, it increases damage dealt by elemental skill and burst by 16 whooping%. But that's not all, because when the elemental skill or burst hits enemies, Skirk's crit rate will be increased by 2%. And yes, it can be stacked 4 times, leading to a total of 16%, 8% from burst and 8% from skill. At R5, all these are doubled, so expect 32% skill and burst damage increase, as well as a 32% crit rate increase. And now for the Black Sword, this is one that I find very interesting as it will shape your playstyle in a good way. For starters, it provides crit rate just like the Wolffang, but their differences starts to show in their passive. The passive increases the damage dealt by normal and charged attacks by 20%. Additionally, it regenerates 60% of attack as HP when normal and charged attacks score a crit hit. So why is it special, you ask? Well, the second passive means you can fully forgo having HP, since she will heal lost HP based on her attack. That said, if you somehow have Wolffang at R5, it can push past Finale and raw damage, but when you weigh cost versus value, honestly, it's not that bad. So yeah, S tier it is. Now with the Battle Pass stuff out of the way, let's step into a different territory. If you're free to play and manage to snag the Calamity of Eshu during its event, then you're in serious luck. At R5, this thing doesn't just beat Finale of the Deep, it goes toe-to-toe with Mistsplitter Reforged, a literal 5-star weapon. Yeah, it's that good. No doubt it earns its spot in the S tier, but even at just R1, it still holds its ground and comes pretty close to Finale of the Deep, so whether you're rocking R5 or just the base version, this is definitely a weapon you'll want to keep on your radar. But wait, it has a catch, because this weapon works best with one character specifically, and that is Dahlia. I've tested it and can boldly come back to say that it's worth it best if you have C6 Dahlia. So if you can't get Furina for Skirk, then you can look into alternatives like Dahlia, specifically because of his shielding capabilities. Of course, we can't forget about Mistsplitter Reforged, easily one of the most versatile 5-star weapons out there. Now, here's something you should know. This sword actually has 2 modes, a 2-stack mode and a 3-stack mode. And while getting 3 stacks isn't exactly rocket science, the difference it makes is definitely worth mentioning. According to my trusty damage chart, the triple stack version dishes out around 3% more damage than the double stack. That might not sound like a lot, but in the world of maximizing damage, it absolutely is. All things considered, Mistsplitter stands tall as a true S+ tier sword, and if you've got it, then you've got nothing to worry about. And lastly, yeah, I'm not even going to try to pronounce that one. But let's be real, pronunciation aside, this weapon is cracked. It delivers roughly 88% of the damage potential of Skirk's signature weapon, which is insane when you think about it. So if you were ever lucky, or unlucky, enough to lose your 50-50 to this thing, then congratulations. You've secured yourself an S+ tier weapon. Now with all that said, what's my final take? Well, if you're a free-to-play player, then your best bet is still the Finale of the Deep at R5. That weapon's become the golden standard. It's reliable, easy to get, and packs a punch where it matters. You can trust me on that one. But if you were lucky enough to grab the Calamity of Eshu during the event, whether it's R5 or even just R2, then it's absolutely worth building for Skirk. Because as the saying goes, it's not the blade that defines the warrior, it's how they wield it. Even a humble weapon becomes something great in the right hands. And Skirk? Yeah, she's a worthy hand. If you've watched this far for her, then you clearly want the best for her. I hope you pull her early so that maybe you could head for her signature. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. Kindly consider subscribing, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.